So is she at Fraser or Hunter? Oh, is this the daughter that was at the concert the other night? Is she on Phil or dance company as well? Is she there? Somebody told me that. That's the only reason I know. We go on fast.
Everywhere. Good.
When I tell my kids, just give me a minute. Is this a short minute or a long minute? All right, we'd like to welcome you this afternoon and call to order the regular meeting of the West Valley City Council. It is September 20th, 2022, 6:30 p.m., and we're in the council chambers of West Valley City Hall. We have all council members present in person or on Zoom, and we're joined at the dais with Mr. Pyle, our city manager, and Ms. Kamick, our city recorder, is online. I would like to ask you to please stand and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance with me.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll now go to our minutes of September 13th, 2022. I'll turn it to the council for a motion or discussion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
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 And those are passed. We'll now go to our public comment period. Comment period is limited to 30 minutes. Any person wishing to speak shall limit their comments to 5 minutes. Upon being recognized by the mayor, please come to the microphone. If you did not have a chance to sign up on the sheet, give us your name and address. All comments should be directed to the mayor. No one addressing the council during the comment period shall be allowed to comment more than once during the comment period, and speakers should not expect a debate with the council and mayor. We'll have time after to address any concerns that we feel need to be. So I will now open the public comment period. We just had one person sign up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jim Visock. Why do we have laws and ordinances in West Valley City when code enforcement and parking enforcement don't want to enforce them or make changes on their own? Parking 72 hours on the street, not moving, is a violation of the ordinance. Parking there for 3 weeks is a violation of the ordinance. Code enforcement. We talk about, Markham, myself, and a few others, about how it appears they are not out there doing their job. The gentleman that was here last week, I got to talk to him afterwards, and during block parties, I got to talk to 2 more residents. All 3 of them brought up code enforcement employee Graves and about how he has said that if they don't comply, West Valley was going to take their house. I specifically asked, did they say your house or your property? And all 3 of them said their house. This is wrong. West Valley won't take a house. I let them know that they will put a big lien on it, but they won't take your house. Now, they will come and do an abatement and take your property, but they all said that he said they will take their house specifically. So, let's see, what else do I have on? The new West Valley City reporting app. I was able to, or it's not an app, but the site, I was able to kind of make an app on my phone for it. It will not let me at least download pictures that I've taken previously. If I'm reporting from my house, I found out that I'll put in the information, I'll put the picture in, and it'll put it to my house. So the report looks like it's coming from in front of my house. I don't know if that's a glitch with the system. I'm the only one that's having that issue, but I tried it on reporting a couple other things and it keeps bringing it back to my property. So then I have to delay it. Good news is they're pretty quick on responding and giving information. And I understand why that they're doing this program, but during the block parties, I was out asking people, if you were going to report a parking violation, how would you do it? Most people said they would call it in. Well, they're trying to make that not as an option. I informed them, that we have the website, and they said, well, it'd be easier with an app. I says, well, we don't have that. Then the question came from one of the residents, well, what if I only have a landline phone? I'm not computer, because we have a lot of elderly and poor that don't have computers or website. How do they report? So if they take away the calling in feature, which I was told that's the plan, how are they going to report it? It looks like they're discouraging people reporting parking, especially issues. When you're driving, it's hard to stop and do the issues on the phone. So they're encouraging you to, break the law or pull over, and it's so much easier to call it in. And so as one option. Who's responsible for the 3500 street forest? If you drive down 3500, you know what I'm talking about. The weeds that are getting to be really tall along the bus concrete thing. Is that the city or is that the state that's responsible to keep those weeds that are growing out of the street taken care of? And it's, they're just getting taller and taller and taller. So that's all I have. We are West Valley City.
Thank you. So I saw a gentleman walk in late. Did you want to speak? Okay. If you'd give us your name and address.
My name is Richard Nowak. I'm at 1232 West on Parkway Avenue. So I think you've seen me a couple times before. I've had some issues like with city ordinance. Again, I'll reiterate, I think the first time I came in, I said I'd had a very short notice. It was only 16 days. And I called Mr. Grimes and asked what he specifically wanted taken care of. And he just simply told me, just read your letter. It's in there. Didn't want to elaborate on any specifics. And that's all I'm looking for, is a little bit of help so I can get into compliance. So a week later I called and I asked him also if I can have more time. 16 days wasn't enough because there was quite a lot of like agriculture branches and stuff because we have a lot of trees. And he said, absolutely not. And use those 2 words. No, because you violated, and this was like 5 years ago before. So it left me no choices to try to explore my options. So I requested a hearing, and we did get to the hearing. And I had a couple other people that wanted to listen in, and the judge was like, oh, I didn't expect so many people. It's usually just ordinance and you and me. And ordinance was being a little nice, like, oh, well, we just want to get them in compliance. I would have worked with them. I would have gave them more time. And like, that's not what you said. So my complaint is, I don't think there's enough oversight to make sure that, if I was not going to get any time, that's would have come into the hearing, but it did not. So I'll be recording, any phone calls or communications from here on out to make sure that there is some transparency. So I don't know if, maybe we need to team these people up so there's somebody else that can back up things that are said. The other thing, I just feel there's a little overreach because one of the violations was a backset on a building that I have a permit for. So I did go to the city and get the paper that says pass. So I'm sure Mr. Grimes himself, since he works within the city, could have gotten these same documents on his own without causing me to go through these types of things. So I think just once again, I'm just kind of complaining that I'm being stomped on a little too hard. So, and like I say, it's going to get into conformance. And I'd like to do it. I'm not asking, well, for reasonable, not leniency. I'm just asking to fit things in within a reasonable frame, which, the judge did give us a little extra time because, of course, Grimes was asking for an abatement, which I thought was kind of annoying. I've never gone through that type of thing, and I've worked hard to get this property, and I've put like driveways and a new roof on. And so things are slowly making improvements to make it a nice piece in the community, and the frontage usually looks nice. So I'm still trying to figure out how to find the grandma issues. I called planning and zoning. They only have pictures of the fence go back 2007 with Google Maps. So, but my neighbor says he moved in the 70s and said it was there then. There was a neighbor across the street. I'm not sure how long, but I'm not sure where to find records. Like I say, Grimes is still not being open to where I can find these things. My neighbor directly to the west has daughter vines on a 4-foot chain link that completely blacks it out. So it's 100% blind. And it's supposed to be 50% transparent, but they've owned that since the 70s. So we went ahead and allowed it. When I bought it with this fence, I've not modified it. I've painted it a couple of times to make it pretty in blue color, but so I think Tom said he was going to talk to somebody about this grandma issue. But at some point, if I can find out how that works from somebody, maybe I can ask the city manager to see if what avenues I can take, because I didn't get far with planning and zoning. I don't know if there's other archives that take pictures since the 1980s when you incorporated, and if those records exist, I'd like to know where to find them. So that's my bit for the day. Thank you. So,
Thank you. Was there anyone else that didn't have the opportunity to sign in that would like to speak? Okay. We will close the the comment period, and I'll turn the time over to Mr. Pyle. Did you have any comments?
Yes, ma'am. Thanks. I was looking through the operations brief last week and thought I'd take a moment just to kind of highlight the fire department. They had a lot of good things going on. They're in 3 weeks of their recruit school. As you all know, they do these training academies on an annual or possibly even more basis, and that's going well. And we're getting good candidates coming out of that. We also, and I mentioned this in a group meet over the week, had an operations drill in conjunction with a real concert on Thursday night. Also went very well. The thing I'm always worried about in these emergency situations, most from a functionality standpoint, isn't the response. It isn't do we have medical personnel? It's communications, because we always have so many different functions that have to be coordinated. And this was one of the best ones I've seen happen. So just wanted to mention that, emphasize that a little bit. They also, or Chief Evans noted in the report that he's working with ham radio operators in the area, which is also not new, but good to see that that's continuing on. And they also completed the senior firefighter academy for already existing firefighters and paramedics that are moving on and progressing within the department. And that's it, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Council members, did you have any comments? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to our public hearing. We have application GPZ 6, 2022, and I'll turn it to Mr. Pyle.
Thank you, ma'am. So I was moving the one file and I lost my other one. If you can bear with me here for a sec, I'll be right back. Okay, there we go. So Mountain America Credit Union is applying for a general plan change, a zone change, and a development agreement to build a new branch over at 2531 South Redwood Road on 0.85 acres. The council has seen some plot plan or plat maps that show entrance and egress and that sort of thing. It's a fairly simple project, just the one commercial entity that will be there. There is an existing residential home on the property right now, which would be demolished. That's it. Thanks, man.
Okay, thank you. Do we have that up on the screens, the site plan?
We can. Absolutely. Kush, could you get that for us?
Okay, thank you. Any comments from the council before I open the public hearing? Okay, I will now open the public hearing and take comments on this issue. Is there anyone that would like to speak? Okay, seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. And our first action item is to consider ordinance 22-34. And I will change the property from residential office to general commercial. So I'll turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
I move for approval of ordinance 22-34.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and we'll turn it to Ms. Kamic for a roll call vote.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone.
Yes.
Councilman Harmon.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Aye.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Link.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to action item 2, which is to consider ordinance 22-35 that changes the zoning. The first one did the general plan. This one does the zoning to accommodate the same issue. I'll turn it to the council for comments or a motion.
Motion to approve ordinance 22-35. Just for clarification, could we have done all three of these together? We have to do them separate? All right.
That's a great question. And lots of times we're looking for ways to simplify, but that's one we've decided, in the past, we've got to do them
Okay,
separately.
just, it was a newbie question.
Yeah.
I appreciate it because it'll make it much easier. Okay, can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. I'll turn it to Ms. Kamic.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Yes.
Councilman Harmon.
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone.
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Link.
Yes,
Motion passes unanimously.
thank you. We'll now move to our third action item, which is resolution 22-139, which is the development agreement attached to this application. Turn it to the council.
Move for approval of resolution 22-139.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
Councilman Whitstone.
Yes.
Councilman Harmon.
Yes.
Councilman Hune.
Yes.
Councilman Christensen.
Yes.
Councilman Nordfelt.
Yes.
And Mayor Link.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We'll now move to application GP 1 2022. Mr. Pyle?
Thank you, ma'am. So every few years, the city is required by state law to adopt a moderate income housing plan. And in that moderate income housing plan, many subjects are addressed, including what's the stock of the city, what are the price structures like, what are incomes like in comparison to that, and therefore what is affordable, and usually has some strategies as to how we could approach increasing our moderate income stock. I can't remember what the exact interval that is. It has to be readopted, but it is every few years. This year was a little unique in the 2022 year in that the Utah legislature passed House Bill 462 that made some significant changes to the moderate income plan as required. Some of these are listed here, such as requiring municipalities with a fixed guideway public transit station to implement 5 or more of the 24 updated moderate income housing strategies listed in state code. So you can see there's some pretty specific things in there they want us to do. A couple of other things are requiring an implementation plan, modify the reporting requirements to include more detail on municipalities' efforts to encourage moderate income housing, all of which I note just from the standpoint that this year's moderate income housing plan looks pretty different than ones in the past. So with that, ma'am, back to you.
Okay, thank you. We'll now open the public hearing for application GP1 2022. Anyone like to speak to that? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and turn it to the council for discussion or a motion. And our action item is ordinance 22-36.
May I speak here for the item, previous item A, and then I'm going to make a motion here for the ordinance 22-36. I just, sorry, I just, it passed for that. But here the point I'm saying it is, I'm so glad that the 2531 is the South Redwood Road is going to be credit union. It's a wonderful, I think it's a piece of land right there and turn into a good bank, and that's good for the people in that area. I appreciate that very much for their vision for that piece of land and try to put the bank there. It's a wonderful. At the same time, I just want you to know, I was very passionate about fighting for laws under 1 acre to divide multiple units. So because that demand really high here in our city, and I've been fighting for that, because I saw the unfairness for our landowners. But finally we passed, and then I grateful for that. I just want to publicly to let you know, as I have no involvement for this 2531 South Redwood Road. This one is very much just it's not he's not using for the new version we have right now. This just basically the old version is a one building and 1 unit. But I want to clear that and make that very clear for the council and then the public, for the people. I'm fighting for unfairness for landowners in the city on Main Road, Redwood Road, 3500 South, 3100 South, 4100 South, 5600 West. That's my comment. Now go back to the item number B here. I just want to make a motion for this ordinance 22-36. Motion to approve.
I have a question. I'm going to second that motion, but just the question, curiosity that I preface with an apology for my ignorance on this, but there's language here with HB 462 around plan, strategy, implementation plan, efforts. Is there any teeth in that bill that holds municipalities to, like, you got to actually do what you put in your plan?
Right. That's a good question. And I could give you sort of the general answer, but Mr. Pastorick knows this in better depth and detail than I do. So I'm going to ask him to address that.
Yes, thank you. So the biggest stick the state has is that if cities don't implement a moderate income housing plan that complies with state law, that they can actually withhold or transportation funding from cities that don't comply.
Cool, thanks.
So one question along that line too, Steve, to the same thing. Have they done that anywhere?
I'm not aware of a city that's had funding withheld, so I think it's more a threat, but that's a possibility. But I'm not aware of any city that's had that enforced on them.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and with that, I've been very satisfied with our city's moderate income housing plan and strategies, but right, we could come up with a super fancy plan and then just never implement it. So-
Right. And to the question, if I could make a comment, I would definitely say, and put our efforts in the area up against just about any other city. We have taken that requirement seriously. Steve and his staff as always do a great job with that. And we have followed that as closely as we could over the years, for sure. So we do.
Totally agreed. Okay, without further ado, I second that.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Ms. Kamic?
Councilman Nordfelt,
Yes.
Councilman Christensen,
Yes.
Councilman Hune,
Yes.
Councilman Harmon,
Yes.
Councilman Whitstone,
Yes.
Councilman Fitzie Umanu.
Aye.
And Mayor Ling.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. We have no need for a closed session, so we have one last motion.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor, please say aye.
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 And we are adjourned. Thank you so much.